Welcome back to Football Pass. Not an ideal start for Rangers in the Europa League group stage. They were bested by Lyon 2-0 at Ibrox. Well, Kenny Miller joins us now to give us his thoughts. Kenny, a tough defeat for Rangers there. What was your initial impression?
Like performance-wise, I didn't think it was that bad, to be honest with you. I mean, I think Rangers over the course of the season have been... flat's maybe a bit harsh, but I just don't think they've been as good as what they had been over even the last couple of seasons. But let's make no mistake about it, Lyon are a very, very good team. And up until the goal, I thought Rangers were right in the game. But when you make mistakes that Rangers made, losing the ball in the middle of the park, I mean, if you look at the first goal, Ryan Kent could actually put Alfredo Morelos through and goal. If he puts a one-touch pass, he could put Alfredo Morelos through. He doesn't. He chooses to take a touch, which is absolutely fine, and loses the ball. 8 seconds later, the ball's in the back of your net. And that's the difference at that level. Domestically, you might get away with those mistakes, and that's no disrespect to the domestic teams. But at that level, against a very, very good team like Lyon, you get punished. And the same goes for the second goal. Ryan Kent does great to work he works his socks off to get back. He wins the ball back, but straight away he's under pressure and he loses the ball. Then there's a bit of for me, again, poor defending. Very similar, actually, if you look back to the Malmo first goal at Ibrox. A player working off the back of the defence and the defence just letting him go, and it leads to another goal. And that, at that point, against a team like Lyon, you were always going to find it hard to come back. But, I didn't think there was much in the game. I think the performance it wasn't a bad performance. It was just got punished for 2 mistakes.
You've used the word flat there, Kenny. Why aren't Rangers performing at the same level they were last season? What's going on in your view?
I do think we're being a lot, maybe, again, and I'm harsh as well when I say flat, because we've been used to such a high standard of Stephen's team over the last, I would say, like 2 seasons, I would say. I know there was... 2 seasons ago, there was not the league title, there was no silverware, but there was some real top performances. I mean, you look at the performances, to be honest, ever since Stevens came to the club in Europe, they've been very, very good against some really good teams. And last night, again, like I said, I didn't think there was much in the game, but when you just make the mistakes, Rangers are just getting punished for them at the moment. Again, some of that is their own doing. But again, when you say flat, it's because you've been used to such a high standard of performance with this team, particularly last season. I mean, you talk about 4 losses this season and you say 3 losses last year. Well, one of the losses was on penalties last year. So it was actually only 2 losses over the course of the season. And one of the things which will be disappointing for Rangers was the 3 games that they lost were games that they couldn't lose. It was the cup games. They could have lost any one of the league games and still won the league comfortably. But the fact that they lost those 3 games that they did in knockout tournaments, that'll be particularly disappointing. So it was, when I say flat, and that's more so due to the high level of performance that Rangers and Stevens' teams put up over the last 18 months, 24 months.
Another great performance from Kent. How worried will Steven Gerrard be with his injury? Because it's looking like a hamstring injury.
Well, when you're a player like Ryan Kent who is that explosive type player, and he is very, very pacey and sharp, you're always liable to these types of injuries. Again, I think like Ryan Kent's a wonderful player, and since he's came to the club initially on loan, and then obviously it shows how much he's valued from Stephen and his staff, that the amount of money that they paid for him. A young player, obviously, again, that's kind of the going rate when you're coming out to a top team like Liverpool. So it shows the value that he's got. Again, he's probably... like similar to most of his teammates this season, he's probably not quite hit those levels, and it was, again, if you're being really, really nitpicky, it was Ryan that lost the ball for the 2 goals last night. But going forward, he did look the threat. He was back to maybe being their outlet again. When he gets in the final third, when you want Ryan Kent at his best, you see him driving, you see him dropping the shoulder, you see him getting shots off, you see him crossing again. He had a cross early on in the game last night in the first half that was very similar to the Alfredo Morelos goal against Malmo, when he cuts in and he's got a fantastic delivery, and it was actually not too far away if he lead into another goal last night, or at least a chance at goal. So Ryan's at his best when he's on front foot in that final third, committing players and using his abilities in that side. And when you couple that again, if you're being that extra harsh on him, saying that he's lost the ball for the 2 goals, he actually worked his socks off to get back and win the ball back for the second goal. And it was just a really good counter press for Lyon that actually won the ball back, kind of 20, 22 yards out for Rangers' goal. But good player, he'll be a big loss. There's no doubt about it, because as much as Rangers might not have been at the levels that they have been, or the performances have not been as kind of electric as what they had been last year, this year, he is a big part of that going forward in the attacking areas. So if he is injured, what it does is it maybe gives Scott Wright a chance, because his chances have been limited. Again, they've went with Kamara Roof as maybe one of these guys, up with Morelos, with Joe Aribo. There's a lot of options. Rangers have got a strong squad, and that's when you're fighting on four fronts. You need a big squad to cover for these types of scenarios. So no doubt it'll be a big loss, but what it does, it maybe opens the door for somebody else to step in.
All right, looking ahead to the weekend, Kenny, Rangers top of the table. They're playing Motherwell. It's not going to be an easy fixture, but it is a must-win for Steven Gerrard.
Yeah, it's like every game's a must-win when you're at the Old Firm. It's you're only one game away from a disaster in some moments. So, and particularly when you come off the back of a loss, if you don't win on Sunday, all of a sudden it's 2 games without a win, or potentially 2 losses. So it's one of the things you want to avoid. You want to bounce back. It's an opportunity to maintain their position at the top of the league, but they're playing against a team in good form at the moment. I think it's 3 wins in a row. I think Motherwell have got that they're in good form themselves. They're always a tough team to play against. I know Graham will have his teams well organised. They've got some really, really good players in that team as well, and a team that's had a little bit of success over the last few years as well. And Graham seems to be putting his stamp on that team. So they'll be looking at it as a chance to go to Ibrox. They'll not be going there to make up the numbers. They'll be looking to continue their good form in the league. So the fact that it is at Ibrox, it's in front of your own fans again, that was always one of the things. Off the back of European nights, sometimes when you've got an away trip that maybe it's not quite it's at a smaller ground, there might not be quite the atmosphere or the crowd that you get at a home game. It's always nice if you've got a home game to bounce off the back of a European night. So I'm sure the Rangers fans will turn up in their numbers again, and they'll be right behind their team in their numbers to cheer them on to hopefully what would be another 3 points for them.
Yeah, that atmosphere at Ibrox is something else, and it's actually something that the Lyon lads talked about.
There's a different atmosphere to a European night. I think there's always a high demand and a high expectation, as you know, but I think the fact that it's not it is against a higher level opposition, there's a little bit more of I wouldn't say relaxed atmosphere, because it is obviously electric, but there's maybe the crowd are a little bit more forgiving on those nights, and they tend to get behind the players that little bit. But listen, the fans love these nights, like turning up under the lights on a Wednesday night, Tuesday night, Thursday night at Ibrox. The atmosphere is amazing, so the fans will enjoy the nights, which then it gives the players that extra little bit of energy. And again, it's no surprise if you look over the years. I think that was that Rangers' first defeat in Europa League in 10 games. If you look over some of the teams that they've played over the last 2 seasons in that, or two and a bit seasons actually in the Europa League, it's a fantastic record they've got in that in the Europa League. So you can forgive them a defeat every now and again, albeit again when it's at home, you just tend to look at it and think if you're going to qualify, you need to win your home games. But take nothing away from Lyon. Lyon are a fantastic team. Absolutely fantastic team. You look at the strength and depth that they had on their bench, coming off their bench when they made the triple substitution. It's big players that are coming on to replace really, really good players as well. So they're a good team. It was just the biggest thing will be, and again, I said that after the Malmo game as well, both Malmo games actually, it's the goals. It's the goals that Rangers are conceding at the moment. That will be the concern, because, and whether it's just a bit of a flash in the pan at the moment, they're getting punished for mistakes. Unfortunately, that's the level you're at. When you're playing Europa League, you're playing Champions League level, that's the level you're at. If you make mistakes consistently, at some point you're going to get punished for it.
Will Rangers progress through the group stage? Will they do it?
Absolutely they can. I think now they've got a run of games, and again, take nothing away from Brøndby and Sparta Prague. They'll be tough games in their own right, but I don't think they'll be quite at the level of Lyon. It's not going to be easy games, but you look at the teams that I said before, the teams that have came to Ibrox, and even Rangers away performances. I think Rangers are actually a team that are, when they go away from home, Stephen has them really, really well drilled and well organised and set up in a way that gives them the best possible chance to get a result. And they've had some really, really positive results away from home as well in the Europa League. So a home or away, obviously you want to win your home games, and with that Ibrox crowd behind you, you expect Rangers to have a formidable record at home. But away from home, I've no concerns when they're going away to Brøndby, away to Sparta Prague as well, and I think they can pick up points there.